architecture means to me. Architecture means a lot to me because I feel it allows me to demonstrate my creativity when I'm using my photography skills. I have learnt over the past 8 months whilst completing my media course, I am able to link the knowledge I have learnt, such as montages, my design, work and my photographic art to help me create my documentary in architecture. I think this because I feel architecture is a form of art. Architecture can be defined as the process of the project, like planning, designing, constructing buildings or other structures. Architectural works in the material form of buildings are often perceived as cultural symbols and as works of art. Architecture has given me an interest into visiting different locations such as London Bridge to view the iconic Shard building, and areas like Old Street and Shoreditch are areas that have architectural buildings which I have included in my documentary. From this timeline I created from a previous project, it demonstrates the oldest building, which is St Paul's Cathedral, 1965, to the most modern building, which is the Shard, 2009. In this timeline, it shows that there is a mixed style of architecture used by a range of different architects. St Paul's Cathedral was designed in a Renaissance Baroque style, whereas the Shard building was built in the 21st century and was designed using the Neo-Futurism architectural style. I feel you can easily tell the difference between the two buildings because of the materials used and the colours. The Shard has glazing glass, the positioning and the height of the building. This symbolises modern and future in the 21st century, whereas St Paul's Cathedral design has different materials, mainly being bricks and limited use of glass, and represents older and traditional architecture. Having discussed two very different architectural buildings, now I'm going to talk about famous architects that I have researched for this documentary. They are Jahad, Norman Foster, Yvonne Ferrell and Shelley McNamara. The first architect I have chosen to talk about is Norman Foster. He is an English architect. Norman is famous for creating iconic architectural buildings which look sleek and modern. Norman Foster has a famous architectural organisation called Foster and Partners. Foster and Partners have been involved in a number of projects. Norman has created iconic architectural buildings like 30 St Mary's Axe, the Gherkin. I think this is an iconic building because of the way you can view this building from different locations. As you can see from this photograph, there is some architectural buildings like the Gherkin. This photograph was taken from a balcony. I know it's not 100% clear, but you can see the element of the Gherkin. This demonstrates that the Gherkin is well known by the way you can view it from different locations. Moving on to the second architect I have chosen to talk about is a female architect called Jahad. Jaha is from Iraq and had her own architectural organisation which was based in London. She named her organisation Jahad Architecture. Jahad was famous for becoming the first woman to win the Prakshas Architecture Prize in 2004. The Prakshas Architecture Prize is an award which is awarded to an architect if an architect builds a piece of architecture which demonstrates vision and the architect which has been dedicated to their work. I personally feel Zaha was a creative architect because of her architecture has a lot of detail. The shapes which are used in her architectural buildings, like the Port Authority, there were a lot of detail with the diamond shape. Zaha is dedicated architect because it took her 6 years to complete the Hydra Centre. In comparison to Norman Foster, the similarities are both architects which have a variety of buildings. The difference being, I feel Zaha has more curved buildings. The third architects I have chosen to talk about is Yvonne Farrell and Shelley McNamara. They both met each other while working in an architectural organisation called Jafton, where they both became the co-founders. Yvonne and Shelley this year both received the Practice Prize and were the first two women to win a joint. Yvonne and Shelley also won the Royal Gold Medal from RIBA. RIBA is the Royal Institute of British Architects. This is a global professional membership body driving excellence in architecture. The RIBA is an organisation where professional architects can get some recognition for their architecture and the chance to get nominated for the Royal Gold Medal. While I investigated into their architecture, I learnt how Yvonne and Shelley had their own unique style within their architectural buildings. By the way, Yvonne and Shelley's materials such as bricks and wood. Also, most of their architecture was located in their hometown in Dublin. Compared to Norman Foster and Zaha architecture, which is located in urban areas like London, New York City, and Japan, whereas Yvonne and Shelley's architecture's design appears to be more focused on rural locations.